If there's an echo again, then just let me know. And I'll
I don't think there will be. I think we'll be okay. Well, I'm talking to Kaylin. Alright, just saying, I love you, sweetheart. Thank you for the hug. Oh, I'm talking to Kaylin. Okay,
What's up?
I'm going to go ahead and mute this. Alright. Hello, everybody. Yeah, I think we're live. Yeah, we're good to go. So, let me go ahead and minimize this, and then I'm going to switch it over, and then get started. Hello, everyone. Hope everybody is having a great weekend. It's coming to the end. I thought I'd do a little bit of a stream since I have some time. I got a webcam, so you guys should be able to see my face while I'm painting. Ooh. What's up, Ulf? First, Cameron, hello. Bruno, hello. Miles, hi. Kaylin's with me. Kaylin, want to say hello to peoples?
Stop.
Yep. Did anyone go to G2C? We were just talking about this, me and Kaylin. I didn't go. I've been trying to stay home a little bit more and help out with the baby stuff, responsibilities, life responsibilities. But yeah, Kaylin just went. He was talking about it. So it was great. Did anyone else go?
Yeah, Robot Pencil family was very strong this year. It was very, very
I saw.
awesome to see the community.
Yeah, I saw a thing that Danielle posted. She was really, really grateful. Not sure exactly what she was getting at, but I'm assuming that she just had a good time hanging out with people. Because whenever we do these things, we always are hanging out with one another and really, finding time to hang out and talk and give each other advice.
Well, I think
right?
the reason why that is because, she's not from here, right? So because she's not from the Bay Area, it's very easy to not know people,
Yeah.
to kind of feel like you're alone. So then it's like, but because of Robot Pencil, it's like there wasn't a time where we were out where there wasn't someone that we didn't know from the class or we didn't know from being a part of the community.
Mm-hmm.
That's very, very kind of nice to know, just because also most people that have been a part of the class are just good people in general, and so you just kind of feel a sense of trusting, that people are going to look out for each other. And I think that was kind of being shown more so than ever, that people were looking out for each other, making sure people had rides back, making sure people were up to date on what was happening, opportunities. People were very, very helpful. And so I think that's why, I definitely kind of noticed that this year too. So I think that's why in particular she was kind of saying, it's really nice to kind of go somewhere where, I'm not from here, nor do I'm from clear across the United States. But when I come, there's someone that, is willing to kind of look out for me. And so, yeah, it's definitely a nice thing to have that community for you, just always kind of looking out for you. So it was definitely a good year.
Oh, so Kay said that they met Guillermo del Toro in the chat. That's cool. How was he? You said he was cool? How was the experience? Sounds interesting. I don't think I've met any super big name people.
You said you met Guillermo del Toro?
Yeah.
I met him one time, but that was because I was playing loud music.
Well, I don't think you met him, right? You were just told to be quiet because he was in the building, and you were just like, what?
I'm playing, this is how we do it, this is how we do it.
And you just started
they just looked at
dancing.
Me. Meanwhile, the person that I was working next to had the Starbucks cup, and he had it pinned to his wall. And I was like, why do you have a Starbucks cup pinned to your wall? And he was like, that's Guillermo del Toro's Starbucks cup. He threw it away in my trash can. And I was like, all right, that's a little weird, bro.
Yeah, he's just a person. I'm sure he's a nice person, though.
He's cool. He seemed cool to me. He seemed really
What's
cool.
up, Kenny Cho?
But it was like, is this funny? He's like, it's on his desk. He's like, I've never erased the Starbucks cup.
He's really great. He's a really good director. I like a lot of his films. Not all of them, but most of them. I think.
Then again, I can't really talk either. I still have Kang Lee's neck drawing that he did on my whiteboard. I haven't erased it since. So yeah.
King Lee is also just a person, really nice person too. Yeah, you did hang out with him, right? Or was he just at your place and you weren't around? You're never
No,
around. It seems like all these amazing people just come hang out in
no,
proximity.
that was more so. No, I did meet him. It was more so I came back
Okay.
from the club and I was kind of like, tired, a little like slightly kind of buzzed, and he's just like in the bushes, like by my door, like in the driveway.
King's just taking a dump by your bushes. You're just like,
Well, this is really weird because
King,
like,
is that you?
expect certain
What the
people
hell are you
that
doing?
can see. Like you expect to see maybe like a person walking their dog, maybe like a homeless guy, but then there's like Kang Lee like in your driveway, and you're like, "Hey, baby, hey, Kang, you doing?" He's like,
So the industry got real hard, bro. It's gotten so hard these last few years. You're just like, oh man.
"Yeah, that's what I was so weirded out." He's like, "I'm looking for 111," and I'm like, "Wait, that's my apartment." And he's like, "Oh, are you the roommate?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm his roommate." He's like, "Oh yeah, I'll let you in." It's like, "What are you doing out here? It's like 2 a.m."
King,
So
what are you doing? That's funny.
yeah, that's how I randomly met him. Yeah. And then
Oh,
it was
hold
like,
on. We got our Discord. I want people to know that we're in the. You guys can jump on in on the Discord stream chat if you want to chat with me and Kaylin. You can you do a 30-minute Discord invitation into the chat so people who happen to be just hanging out in the chat, if you guys want to jump in and be a part of our Discord community, you guys are more than welcome. We usually try to let people in usually around this time. Oh,
so you want me to put it
Yeah, what's up, guys?
hey, what's up? There's a little bit of echo.
Yeah, I just fixed it. My bad.
Yeah, you might have to use a headset to help out with that. That's some advice to anybody. Or just walkie-talkie yourself. It's not too big of a deal. Yeah, welcome. But what were you saying, Kaylin?
So you want me to put it in the Facebook chat?
Yeah, so the people who are chatting
Okay.
right now can just jump on
Let
in if
me
they like.
let me do it right now.
Oh, let me read what Kay said. Kay said, yes, it is. Yes, is Kaylin there too? I took the environment and character mentorship for credit for my school. Del Toro was at the Minneapolis Institute of Arts for the Living with Monsters show. Ah, that's right.
Yeah, Kay. I remember Kay. Yeah, she's one of my students. It's actually really cool that she was able to get her school, or like to get her school to write off.
I remember
our
this.
classes.
Yes,
as like an actual kind of thing,
she found a way.
very
She
smart
broke.
to do
She
that.
broke the system.
Yeah, she broke the system.
I ain't
It was
gonna
like,
spend
I didn't
no
make
dollar.
the class. It was very easy. All I had to do was write a report and just be like, "Yeah, she's doing her work. She's doing good," and
Yeah, I
she's
ain't.
able to do that.
I ain't gonna spend no dollars without getting those credits, homies. That's what she was like. She was
Yeah.
like,
So yeah, shout outs to her.
this is how we do it. This
Okay,
is how
yeah.
we do it.
And then just slowly just turn. Just look at me. I'm like, I'm sorry, was that loud?
What's up, Anthony?
Hey, what's up? What's up, friend?
Killing your homework right now.
You killing
I'm
it?
making,
You like
I'm making
you
Biggie one of my characters. He's from my Android.
you're killing it. Like you like literally printed it out, made like weird
murdering it.
weird science.
With knives.
You made like a real version of it, and you raised it to an adulthood. And then the day came. You just went to the
And then
bed.
Brooklyn rejoiced in
Yeah!
happiness again about Biggie.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad you're doing homework and hanging out. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who else is up in here? I heard Brian, or other words known as
Yo.
Brainchild.
What? Brian, keep my name out your mouth.
Brian's house.
Oh shit, that reminds me. I gotta do the video
What?
for Nonstop Barcelona.
Oh yeah. I'm kind of sad I won't be able to go this year, but it's fine.
Yeah, because we're doing like Madrid and Barcelona.
Yeah, that
which
sounds
is, like,
fun.
Really, really cool.
Yeah, Dan's going, right?
Who's going? What?
Dan.
Yeah,
VC.
Dan's going.
Dan
yeah,
VC.
he's going.
Okay, good. I talked with him a little bit ago, and he mentioned it, and I was like, "Oh, that's dope. Good."
Yeah. So it's gonna be a pretty fun time. Cause I'm really excited to bring Jacqueline. So
That's right. Yeah, I was gonna go originally, but the wife and I talked about it, and like my wife's going to be like ready to pop right around that time, so it seems a little Sketch.
Little suspect.
Yeah, the last time that it was a close quarters was like, or close call. I mean, not close quarters. It was with Julian. Like I was in Italy, and then like the day that I came back, like I think it was that day or the day after he was born. So like if the trip was just a little bit longer, I might have missed my son's birth.
Or you bring her, and then best of luck if she gets pregnant,
and then he can't come back to the
citizenship.
No, he can't come to the States because he's officially an Italian.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something like that happened with my aunt. I guess she was born in Germany, even though she was American. Like, my grandma was visiting Germany. So technically, but she was also there for like military reasons because of who she was with. So apparently her birth certificate is like wishy-washy on like where she belongs.
Isn't Obama's wishy-washy too?
Deport her. Hey, whatever, Trump.
Get her out.
What's her HSB though?
Yeah, what's her HSB? What's her hue, saturation, and brightness?
She's white.
No, what's her HSB? Be more specific.
I don't know what her HSB is.
No one's pure white, buddy.
Yeah, no one.
No one's pure white. She's pure black.
She's cream.
Ugh.
Cream de la cream.
Cream?
What is cream?
Caucasian.
Cream. Yeah, my aunt's cream color.
She's cream. What is this, like a Starbucks? What are you doing?
Yeah.
No.
But all your family is black. What are you talking about? You don't got cream colored family members.
That's racist.
What's their HSB? What's their HSB?
Whatever, dude.
You gotta have the number, bro.
I'm not a part of this conversation.
I think you are.
Yeah.
I don't want to be. Correction, I don't want to be a part of this.
Anyway. Let's move on. I was going to do some Q&A today, so if anybody had some questions, I'll be more than happy to answer as many as I can before I'm rolling out. Today is a good day, though, because my
Where
daughter...
are you rolling out to?
Just rolling out by, like, just turning this off and just leaving.
Man, it sounds like you're leaving.
I'm
Like
gone.
for good.
Just going to be going like this.
Like this is it.
Until you can't see me anymore. And then I'm back. Oh, look, I get to see my own elevator. It's a pretty good elevator. Good. You know that trick where you kind of bend your knees slowly and surely until you disappear?
I like doing the escalator.
Yeah, escalator. I did that to my kids the other day. I was like, oh, I'm going to go to the basement. And I just went like this. And they're like, what? In the kitchen. Because there's like a counter in the way. And they were like, what the? We have a basement? They totally fell for it. Losers. Bunch of losers. Anyway. Question. How are you today? And the next question, the shortcut for flipping the canvas. There is no shortcut for that. You have to make a hotkey for it. I'll tell you where it's at, though. You can decide what hotkey you want. And then how am I doing? I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. So, for some of you who follow my Facebook, I've also been talking about like my health, and there's some things going on. So originally I had a tumor. They removed it, and then that was a crazy experience. But all said and done, it's gone. And then I have to go in and out and constantly get my blood work checked to see if my hormones are fine, and they're not. Not in a scary, like I got cancer or a tumor again type of way, but it's not cool because the kinds of hormone levels that I have could create another tumor or potentially worse, like cancers, right? And so there is a safe treatment, though, which is I just go in and just do this needle and then do that for, several months. And then after that, we will see if my hormones either balanced out or not. And if they don't, then the next step is radiation and just completely destroy whatever is up in there that's causing this hormonal imbalance. But all of this is preventative, meaning that I don't have anything already, right? So it's not anything too serious, but it can be if unchecked. Hence, I had a tumor, and so I'm not too worried about it because there's nothing to worry about yet. But there's a few things that I've considered, because like I look into a lot of stuff. I read a lot, and I look online a lot. And I found that like I eat a lot of soy, especially like soy-made foods because I'm vegan, right? So a lot of the stuff that I eat is usually made from soy protein isolate. And that's the worst one, too, by the way. I found out like a few weeks ago. And, some friends brought it up to my attention, too, and I was like, okay. And I was eating like tons of soy. I was drinking soy milk, like in all my smoothies. I was eating like tons of tofu. And then I was like, okay, maybe there's something to this. So I talked to my doctor about it, and I was like, I'm going to completely cut it out and see if there's any changes in my...
So you're not doing tofu anymore?
No, I'm just completely getting rid... Well, the research that I read said in moderation, right? Like 1 to 3 servings a day is actually beneficial, right? But it's like when you get to 4 or 5, it's kind of suspect, and then when you get beyond 7, then it's like it can be actually pretty dangerous. And I was like, I think I was at like 6 or 7, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe I should cut it back a bit, because like a cup of like soy milk is like this, and that's like considered like 1 to 2 servings, just like a small cup. And I was having like 3 or 4 cups sometimes in one day,
Yeah.
And mostly I drink a lot of soy milk because it's fortified with like a lot of essential vitamins, so it saves me a lot of effort because it's just like there, and I don't have to worry about anything. I just drink soy milk, right? And so it's important because I was telling her, I was like, I'm really, proactive about my health, especially after this whole incident, and I wanted to I told her. I'm not one of those types of people, though, that are just like, I don't believe in modern medicine. How dare you try to inject me with more needles? Like, no, obviously I did the surgery. Obviously I did all the procedures that they asked me to do. I trust their insight, especially the later group of doctors that I've, acquainted myself with. But there is and I told her, I was like, but there is a very clear, like, divorce between nutrition and medicine that I think, more developed countries that have better healthcare systems will also focus on preventative care that includes exercising and nutrition. And we don't have that here in the States. And she's like, totally, I get you. She was actually totally understanding. And she's like, yeah, let's do it. She's like, a month should be fine. Like, just do it for a month. We'll do more blood work. And then we'll start the treatment after that. And I was like, okay, great. And she was curious too. She was curious to see what the results would be. But she seemed like, I could tell she was just kind of like, whatever, like nothing's gonna change, But I told her, I was like, look, even if like the hormone levels went down dramatically, like it was like I'm cured, right? Or not cured, but like it just goes down dramatically. I told her I'll still do the treatment. I'm not delusional, I'm not naive. And so she was like, okay, great. Yeah, I'm not one of those types of people that's like, I'm just going to eat blueberries till I feel better. Like, no, I understand that there's like there's a little bit more complication, more nuances to what I got going. It can't be solved with simple changes. And it's interesting because the more I researched it too, a lot of food products have soy in it, like tons of food products. And a lot of the animals that, a lot of the food that animals are fed are actually soy food. You know what I mean? They eat a lot of soy because soy helps them grow, right? And so you might be actually getting indirectly through other means. In fact, when I first switched the diet, my daughter saw significant improvement in her health, right? And but then like she started getting her bumps again, and we weren't sure like what was going on because we were like, look, it was going away when we changed it. And then like in the last month or two, she's got him back again, and it was like pretty bad. And I was like, man, what the hell? And then I was like, well, maybe Delilah's like me. Maybe she has some sort of allergic reaction to this soy stuff, right? And so we removed it from her diet, and then all of a sudden her skin started softening up again. And it's just like, maybe it is. Maybe that's what it is, right? Because it's like hard to tell when you like remove everything. You don't know what specific nutrient might be causing the ailment, right? So we thought maybe it was like the wheat, or maybe it was the gluten. Maybe she had some nut allergy, And we just like checked every little thing, and nothing seemed to work out. And I thought maybe it was the bread, And, come to find out that the bread that we were getting her actually has soy in it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oops. And so, it became very clear to me that there might be something there, and we're probably going to test her for soy because of that whole ordeal. But other than that, I feel fine. Like my headaches are pretty much gone. Every so often, I have a little bit of the pain, or it feels like phantom pains. But overall, I feel pretty good. Today, felt pretty great. I went to church today, actually, with Dan. Yeah.
You woke up to what?
I went to church today with Dan. It was nice.
Shit.
His church is freaking dope. I'm not religious at all.
Dan's a church-going guy.
Yeah, I'm not religious at all. But I wanted to take one of my sons there just to have him have more people to hang out with that are his age, that have some sort of compassion and understanding for his differences, right? Because I don't think he's getting it from this specific school, right? And I'm just trying to think of ways for him to engage with people that are not going to necessarily judge him, And, most Christians are this way, right? I mean, Dan is like one of the most compassionate people I know. He's one of my best friends. And so I asked Dan, I was like, do you think we can go to your church and hang out and stuff? And he told me they have an epic high school session. When we went there, they had foosball tables, pool tables. Yeah, there's a half court. There was a skate park. I was like, what in the world? I'm like, dude, I'm not religious, but I'll go here. I was like, I'll just go skating. Yes, sir.
It's different. You're like, what?
Yes, I told you could do on either the PlayStation or the Xbox. Both of them play with Blu-ray. Huh? Well, you can do the PlayStation, sweetheart. Just ask Jake. He can help you out.
Yeah, I used to go to youth group with my dad back in the day, and that's kind of the same thing. It's it's nice to kind of have people to hang around with, especially during the summertime.
Yeah.
It's at home all the time. So. Yeah,
and it's a situation where the people there, there's no school, right? I mean, other than Sunday school, I guess. But you're usually just hanging out, right? And at least for me, it was like that. And I remember it not being as cool though as what Dan had going on. I don't even for instance, some of their you can have the church ceremony streamed. So if you didn't feel the kids are sick or I'm not feeling too good to go into church today, you could still have cool. Yeah, I'm like, dude, that's I'm like, that's a great use of the technology. Like I said again, I'm not very religious, but I was commenting on how clever that is. And then they have all this great stuff, and it just seemed like a really nice place. And I wanted one of my kids to kind of just go there, and it made me think there really isn't just a place, at least that I can think of right off the top of my head, where you can just go hang out with people in a more communicative way, right? Where people go there and just talk to each other and just hang out and give each other solid advice and insight to one another's lives, because that's kind of what they do, right? When I was there, they were just talking about all these different variables about how to basically the life lesson they were passing on to the people at their church was, or at least today that I got, was shit happens, and just be prepared for that. And then they just wrapped it around the idea of but God's there to help you out. And I thought, well, in my world I don't have a God. So it's more along the lines of just oh, well, life shit happens, but there's always light on the other end of the rainbow kind of thing. And actually one of the things that the pastor said that I thought was wow, this is super insightful, was he's when there's a shadow, there's light. And I was like, wow, solid, super solid. I was I can't dispute that. I even told Dan that. I was I'm not religious, but I can see why people love going to church still. It's not just so much as I know a lot of people get really caught up on the idea of Christians don't believe in global warming, or they don't believe in evolution and stuff like that. And I'm sure, some of them don't.
People,
and some of them do, but don't be judging people just specifically on those specific things. It's usually what I get, and Dan feels the same way, actually, our good friend, is where you try to intrude in others' lives and way in a negative way is not, and according to him, the Christian way, right? You're supposed to be loving and caring to one another. And I'm like, yeah, that's rational, right? Because he has very specific beliefs, and I obviously disagree with, but him and I get along very, very well, and we're very close friends.
No, Dan's family.
Yeah, yeah, he's family, man. So I
disagree with that guy, but I'll definitely do whatever I can to.
Oh yeah.
For him. Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's no doubt, and I told him that too. I was like, there's never going to be a moment where whatever you believe is like, unless you obviously like destroy someone's life, right? You go out of your way to hurt somebody. Like maybe I'll have to reconsider that, but I can never imagine him doing that. I just not in a million years, Yeah. And so. But like that's what I was saying, like when I went there, it was really enlightening because I used to be Christian. I used to go to church when I was a kid, and when I got older, I was like, oh, this is probably not a thing. So I stopped going. And actually when I was going, there was a lot of pressure too. That's probably what kind of made me reconsider the whole religion thing. There's a lot of judgment, and I didn't like that. But that was only specifically the church that I was going to at the time. It doesn't speak to all persons. I'm pretty. I definitely think generalizing is the problem. It's the same thing with like this whole Muslim stuff, right? People think that the Muslim religion is like this really detrimental and dangerous religion. But we have Muslim students. In fact, I have one right now, and I was talking to her about it. And I was like, "Do you believe in all this crazy stuff?" And she was like, "No, not even a little bit." And it's like, most people are just modest. Yeah, most people are just generally fine with one another. It's just that when they want to try to create these differences, that's when things become an issue. For instance, like I argue a lot lately online about what's going on with Donald Trump, as you may have seen. And people keep saying that I'm on the left, right? People keep saying, like, you're leftist. You're an extreme leftist. And I'm saying to them, what is a leftist? Like, explain to me what you mean by this, Because the way that I see myself, I don't see myself on the left or the right. Like, I'm sure I might live somewhere on that spectrum according to people's definitions. But the way I see it is I'm a rational person with rational sensibilities, And I'm only looking at what's happening. I'm not basing it on, because for instance, my favorite thing when people throw at me is like, well, Obama did it or Hillary did it. And I'm like, well, I didn't know that. And that's also equally terrible if that's true. I was like, when someone brought up like the drone strikes that Obama was doing, I was like, yeah, that sucks. Like I had an inkling of that, but you're right. I should have been just as angry then as I am now. You're absolutely right. And I just tell people, but see, that's the thing. I didn't know before, or at least I had no interest of knowing, and now I do. And it's like I have no interest in defending Obama just because I'm a leftist. Like this whole dual party thing, I think, is like again, going back to what I'm saying, people are just generalizing and separating each other so they can kind of justify their nonchalant arguments. It's like, yeah, I'm like, look, like Donald Trump literally is lying every single time he talks. Like almost every time he's saying something that's just demonstrably wrong. It doesn't matter what your opinion is. It's just that's what's happening, and that's extremely dangerous.
Let's start an art one. What would an art one be? It'd be like Photoshop versus.
Oh, like in the 3D world, right? Like it's like ZBrush versus 3D Coat, right?
Let's do like Silo and Maya. Except I'm gonna win because no one uses Silo.
No, Silo.
I was waiting for you
is
to
the
take
best.
a shot at Silo.
Silo is the greatest tool.
I saw it coming when you picked up 3D.
Get him. No, it's like the 3D Coat versus like ZBrush. No, what? What the hell? No, 3D
I don't know
Coat.
if that's totally like a good example. Wouldn't it be more like Maya versus ZBrush because they're different mindsets to getting something done?
No,
yeah, we can do that.
That's the point.
Different one.
That's the point I'm trying to. That's the point I'm trying to make is that it's not that different, and just people just want to find those differences so they can argue with one another. Like I don't believe that the people on the far right, or even like not the far right, but the people that lean more right, I don't really believe that they want to hurt people. Do you get what I'm saying? And I don't believe most of these people are bigots or racists or whatever people have been calling them. Do you get what I'm getting at? Like, they're just like us. They just have stronger opinions leaning more to the right, right? But it doesn't necessarily mean that they're terrible people, right? Even one person was like, "Oh, I hate all these people who keep saying that Trump is a fascist and he's Hitler and all this stuff." And I was like, first of all, I have not said that. I just been saying he's incompetent. Like, he just is. You can't debate me on this. Like, just look what he's been doing, and if you can't see that, then I don't know what else to tell you, you know? And so, getting back onto this idea of, like, separation, I think people use that as a way to argue with one another. And it's the same thing with this whole religious stuff, right? People just, like, just because you don't believe in some sort of extra being beyond life and death doesn't mean that the person's an idiot if they do, Because I would never think that of our friend Dan, ever, not even for 1 second, And I think that's the problem. People is like, it's all or nothing, right? It's either you agree with me 100,000%, or you're just a moron.
Pick a side. That means I think Blender would be like Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, it's open source. Like it's for the people. It's like it's open to change. Yeah, but at the same time, it's like understands the standards.
And then
but at the same time, it understands the standards of the industry and the needs of the industry. Yeah, Bernie Sanders is.
That's a good one, man.
Use Blender means you're moderate.
It's available to the public.
It's so fun. Such a
Someone
good
should
program.
do that. Should do a meme.
You get free healthcare when you use the Blender.
When you use Blender.
But like, who would use them? That's pretty fun. Someone should do that.
Yeah,
shout outs to Blender users.
Yeah.
That free open source life.
Blender is a pretty phenomenal software. I haven't used it at all, but I've seen like what people can get out of it, and the fact that it's free is
like
what
Diego
makes.
was doing that VR stuff.
Jerry kills it too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Jerry is the king.
Yeah, that dude's been giving me tips here and there. It's a nice guy.
Absolutely. Yeah. But anywho, that's how I've been feeling. Thanks for asking, Kenny. Just went all around.
Blender, Team Blender.
So the moral of the story, guys, is vote for Blender 2020.
Vote for Blender. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes. Speaking of which, heard Oprah's running for 2020.
I ain't voting for it.
Huh?
I ain't voting for it.
Yeah, I actually heard a really good argument about this idea of like celebrities and billionaires going to run, because it was like, look, Trump did it. You don't have to be qualified. And then this guy was like, no, this is not the strategy that we should be encouraging.
I'd vote for The Rock.
I disagree. I've brought this point up before. I think it's important. And I think it's too late now because it's already happened, but I made a lot of comparisons to like art history and how when you had like the paintings like the Black Square, it lowered the standards for what can be considered art. And in the long run, that actually ended up helping art as a whole because it opened up the public's mind to other things than, portraiture and landscapes. There's a wide spectrum. Now, with the presidency, it does suck that it's Trump, but it does open up or contribute to opening up the floor for saying that if you have the right kind of ideas and you're willing to work hard, you could become president. And that's not who Trump is, but it says that, you don't have to be a lawyer or a, politician in order to become president.
Yeah.
It could be a negative or a good thing.
Yeah, so here's the counter argument, the rebuttal. So you'd be okay then if The Rock decided to become a doctor then. Because, he opens the possibilities to anybody can do it now, right?
Hell yeah. The doctor's the shit.
He can play a doctor on TV.
Now you see kind of the point. This is a job. This is not subjective.
I specifically hold on. I specifically said if they were willing to put in the work to actually learn how to do the role.
He did say that.
So if The Rock goes and tries to become a doctor the correct way,
it's not that simple. Because you're saying that you don't need to have experience to get the job in the first place. I'm saying
what experience do you then? Because
you need to know. You need to know
system.
It does matter because, as you can see, when we didn't care about that, look what happened. We got a guy.
Terrible thing.
We got a guy who's not even reading the policies or even understands the policies he's signing. It's not like me putting a piece of turd on a toilet and putting it in an art museum and saying this is art, and then the next person does like some really cool digital art that inspire, like some toothpick art even, and it's like, oh, that's really cool, that's an avenue. Or someone that wants to do YouTube videos and comes up with an interesting way. You get what I'm saying? Like this is not. These are subjective careers where you're right. There's an opportunity there. This is one of those types of careers where millions and millions of people's lives, are in your hands. So you can't experiment as much. You get what I'm getting at? As you would for something a little more subjective.
I can agree with that. I was just saying in our
you're right to this idea.
Aren't set up.
Yeah, you're right to this idea that. Yeah, you're right to this idea that maybe The Rock can become the president, but he has to do like a 10-year president prep and knowing like geopolitics, knowing the science. Like he needs. When you become a president, you need to know like economics. You need to know policy making, laws. You have to know what's international trade. You have to know all of these things. Yeah, balanced budgets. You have to understand the economy of your own country versus the economy of other countries. You have to also understand treaties that are already in place and why they're there. You have to be a historian at some level. I almost feel like the president shouldn't even be a thing anymore. We should just have a committee of people that are experts at their different things,
like that.
And then just have a system that simulates kind of like a rockin', like you have someone in charge, sure, but you have them not have so much damn power that we've started giving our own presidents. You
do realize that's what we're supposed to be. Like that's the whole.
Yeah. So you're right. That's kind of what the forefathers were trying to warn us from. Like they said, keep money out of the government because this will happen, and it's happened already. And what I love about Trump, I never thought I would think this or say this, is to your argument, Mike, which is it opens the door to something that most people weren't aware of before, which is, holy crap, companies truly do own our government, And you can just see it by the trades and the deals that the president is doing, right? He's putting the money in the wrong places.
In his own pockets.
And he's supposedly putting it in his own pockets, right? And my argument to what like this whole like if Oprah runs, she would be equally unqualified. That's the problem. Maybe she would be more rational and reasonable listening to experts on the matter, but that's the problem. There is that if she has no understanding of what this is, and a person comes in and says, "This is you better do it," that person has the accountability to put it back onto the president if they make a mistake. So the president has to sit there and have a strong understanding of most things so that they can like actually have a worthwhile argument with the experts. You know what I mean? A good example is like Steve Jobs. Like he would go in and argue with like the guys at Pixar, right? When they were making their movies, and he's like, "No one's going to get this. No one's going to like this type of stuff. You guys are just making art for art's sake, And they're like, "What are you talking about? We know what we're talking. We've been animating for decades. What have you done?" kind of thing, But Steve Jobs had strong arguments. He understood that yes, there's an artistry there, but he understood how artists think. He understands that they think that they're better, that their opinions and tastes are better than yours. Where he's like, "Yeah, you can think that, but the general public doesn't think this way, not even a little bit, And he understood this, and this is what made a lot of the Pixar films so great, especially in the very beginning. It was a combination of great minds coming together with one person that was able to rebut them in a very intelligent way, even if they didn't feel they agreed at the moment, And like right now, for instance, our president can't do that, right? Like he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He has no idea. He's not even a good business person. He's not even good at the thing that he claimed.
He failed.
Yeah,
so many times.
Yeah, I mean, The Rock and the Oprah, they're great motivational speakers.
Will
sure.
Smith too.
Yeah, but motivational speaking is only can take you so far when you start to have to make policy.
If you smoke.
Yeah. Now, if politics involve like fighting one another, then let's go for The Rock. like you had to do like a wrestling. Yeah, you had to do like a wrestling match at the end to decide. Yeah, decide treaties.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then hold on. So then back on the subject of this, like, then in our current political system, I think it's been an unwritten rule that, you know, we want somebody actually qualified to run, and that's who we tend to normally vote for.
Yes.
In this case, that didn't happen. So
it's arguable that it might have not happened for quite a while. You know, it's just Trump is so it's like just so obviously unqualified. If that makes sense.
Because I mean, we did have Reagan, apparently, or was it Reagan?
He was also an actor.
Somebody was an actor. Yeah. So then maybe what needs to change instead of my previous argument is that we actually put in written rules and say, hey, here are the qualifications to even run. We now have qualifications, rather than saying like, well, if people vote for you, you know what I mean? Because it is, like you said, you made a lot of good points. It is a hard job. It's not the same as, you know, trying to paint a picture, right?
Yeah.
It's more in lines of.
There's just needs to be more.
Yeah. So they have to be, and they have to be a little bit more. I don't know what they are, and I'm not going to even suggest that I know what they are. But I would argue that we would just have to have.
Well, you have to be an American and 35. I know.
That's it. Come on in, guys. You know how silly that is? You know how, like, you know, there's some people that are legal Americans after, you know, coming here, earning it, right? Like, they weren't born in this country, but they earned their residency, right? That could potentially have more qualifications than a more American-born citizens. And I think that needs to change, too. This idea that you have to be, like, pure blood doesn't mean anything, really, because there are some people that are pure blood Americans, and they're terrible, terrible people. And the fact that they have a better qualification than someone who's earned to be here, like he left like a war-torn country, like worked like a 9-to-5 job and overtime, like 2 jobs, went to school, you know, spent the 20 years getting their citizenship, pay their taxes, and give to charities, and some can't be a president, but like some guy who just happens to just like just be born here, do nothing to contribute to society, has a better chance to become president by default. And I think that's also wrong. That's terribly, terribly wrong, right?
White privilege.
Yeah. Well.
Not really, but
no. Statistically, there's more white people. That ain't entirely inaccurate, but I just don't like generalizing at all. For instance, you know, me and my friend had a really good talk, and he was concerned about, like, you know, murder rates and stuff like that. And I was like, you know, white Americans are the highest demographic of murderers and killers in our country. You know that, right?
Killers.
No, they're just in general, like murder and killing. White people got it. And he was like, what, really? And I was like, yeah. He's like, I thought it was like, you know, low income, like blacks and Hispanics, right? Which makes sense if you think about it in a very, very closed loop of watching movies and TV shows, right? And I was like,
rules that we get.
Yeah, and I told him it's you can look it up, you know, and I explained to him, but it's also kind of an inaccurate depiction because there's just more white people, right? That's just how it is. It's like going to China and then saying, man, Asian or Chinese drivers are terrible here in China. It's like, well, yeah, because most people here are Chinese. You know, it's going to be, that statistic's going to be in that realm for that reason. And I say, but it doesn't necessarily mean that white people are just more prone to violence either, is what I'm trying to get at. You know, it's just when people get really caught up with, like, we got to import the immigrants, and we got to put the low income communities, and specifically target like African American communities, like Black Lives Matter. Like, why did they even think this? Because in general, like, yeah, most people are usually reasonable with one another, but just because people are reasonable with one another doesn't mean that there isn't some sense of racism, and that racism that's based off an injustice that's based off of biases. Because just because there's a picture painted that white people are racist doesn't mean that black people can't be racist. That's obviously not true, because there's Black Lives Matter.
I've met some.
Yeah, there's Black Lives Matter protesters who literally say, "I'm going to murder the whiteys." That's racist. That's not, like, I get it. I get what you're trying to do. You're trying to like bring awareness to the problems of African American societies, but you're not doing yourself any favors by doing the thing in which you disagree with, right? And so, yeah, it's just like it's not so black and white. So you can't have people like Trump who thinks it's black and white, literally and figuratively, okay? And go around appointing more people like Jeff Sessions, who has a history of being like, I don't think civil rights is a thing. Like, that's literally what he said.
Yeah.
That's like literally his words. Again, I'm not leaning more to the left or right. This is just reality. Yeah, this is just how it is. And it frustrates me. It frustrates me that people aren't willing to divorce themselves from their party because party loyalty. You know?
Yeah.
And I would say the same to the people on the far left. Some people will support Hillary to the ends of the earth. But look, Hillary has made mistakes as well, man. It's like we need to start just keeping everyone that we're putting in power accountable. And that's it. It's just that simple. It doesn't matter who they are, right? And, yeah, I'm just getting real frustrated with this whole situation. And I feel like if we're going to have somebody to represent our country, and that's all they're supposed to be, like, then if we just bring a celebrity like The Rock or Oprah, then their responsibilities should be very minimal, you know? And we put the real power in real responsible hands, and then we just have the face of America just be The Rock, and he just does the eyebrow whenever he's in peace treaty meetings. But even that sounds just so... sounds like Idiocracy, the movie, right? Like, whatever president election is just kind of like some sort of reality show. And maybe we should not do that. Yeah, The Apprentice, but for the presidency. Apprentice of the Americas. Yeah, I don't know if that's good strats, y'all. So we should try to do our best to fight that. But it might be a hard fight to battle. But it could be something that could happen because of this whole ordeal that we're dealing with in the first place, right? Yeah, there might need to be a better system. We just need to update some of our laws as well. We need to update some of our legislation, even some of our constitution, because it's just there was different time, different things, man. People are thinking differently, and there's different problems going on in the world at those times when these things were written. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, wait, is there more questions? I think there might have been as I was.
People just started talking politics.
Yeah,
It's
hard. It's hard not to, man, because it's just like super irrelevant and it's super annoying.
Are you reading the chat or do you need me to?
I'm not reading the chat, so if I haven't.
Krill, keeping those in power accountable? Are you an Anarchist or Anarchist, bro? I think I am, I guess. Don't label me, man. Yeah, if you guys have any questions about art, though, it doesn't have to be about politics. I just got onto that rant.
I like talking politics personally. That's what my family and I do when we get together. Makes for fun conversations.
Are you Blender?
Yeah, are you Blender? Or are you Max? Or are you Maya? What's your HSV?
What's your party?
What's your HSB?
HSB. What's your program?
Yeah.
What are your export settings?
Yeah.
Are you
JPEG or are you PNG?
Are you JPEG or PNG?
It's
What
all
about a GIF?
It's all about JPEGs, dude.
What's your local color?
JPEGs for life, bro.
It's all about targets, bro.
Dude, EXR files.
Get out. Get out.
Aw. Dude, that's filist.
Yeah, that's funny. All right, I'm going to take a swig of some water if anyone has. Blender 2020, dude. New hashtag. Blender 2020.
Blender 2020. I like it.
It's open source, man.
I'm getting a headache from all this politics, man.
Watch out. They're going to get you.
Yeah, dude, this is intense days for sure.
You see the new Overwatch character?
Yeah, of course, man.
Orisa.
Yeah.
Orisa. Oris or Reese?
African Baymax. I'm down for that. Let's do this.
That's racist.
She's fun.
Or robotist. That's robotist. Just
That's
because she's
Omnicist.
yeah, just oh yeah, it's Omnicist. Just because she's a robot, she has to have it look like Baymax.
Yep.
Thought you were better than that. Whoa. Yep.
Yeah. Just kidding. No, that's what I thought first when I first saw it. I was like, oh, it's like Baymax because helping bot. Like she created like a bot's gonna help people,
No.
help save
So
people.
all robots that help each other in Baymax? Thought you were better than that.
You got a question. Someone asked, did you answer if there's an evening class coming soon?
Yeah, a lot of people have been asking about evening classes. I got rid of it just because I've been trying to see if I can get my evenings back so I can hang out with the kiddos. But I think what I might do for May or April, May is I'll just do a morning class and an evening class. I'm just trying to get a little bit more of my time back because I've been doing a little bit more freelance and I've been doing a little bit more work, and so the combination of the freelance and work has allowed me to cut back on one thing. But I don't ever want to get rid of my classes entirely. I think we'll always have my classes because it's something that I actually enjoy doing. I love teaching, and I love helping many people out. Obviously, you guys help me out too, right? You're supporting the mentorship
Oh,
side.
I heard Brian was there. Was Brian there? McRae at GDC?
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah, promoting.
say,
Yeah, promoting
Yeah,
promoting the game. Yeah. Yeah,
games.
got some rave reviews from the press, and people really enjoy it.
Oh yeah. I
Uh-huh.
was like, everything's going good. Just working on the game.
Yeah. So like stuff like that, and like I said, freelance has allowed me to kind of get back into the groove. So I wanted to kind of teach less, just so I can basically hang out. Like kind of like what I did today with my kids. I was like teaching Delilah to finish riding her bike. Me and her have been going at it for like the last month or two, and like every time we go down there, so there's these bikes that have like no pedals, and we got Julian one, but like Julian's afraid of it, so Delilah's been riding it, and from what I
How does
read,
that work?
yeah, from what I read, the way it works is that the reason why tricycles don't work, or sorry, not tricycles, yeah, I guess tricycles or training wheels, because it doesn't teach them that like central balance you need when you're actually riding a bike, because it's making up for that, right? And so what these bikes without pedals do is it teaches you how to get that central balance, because there's no things on the side, but your feet are there, so you can like, you're basically running with it, and then you just put your feet up, and so you're balancing. You get it? And so once
my nephews have that kind of bike.
yeah, so basically, from what I read, like as soon as the kid can balance, like they can go for like long periods of time confidently, then they're ready to go on a regular bike, right? And that's pretty much what happened. She was doing that for about a month, just that thing. Like at the beginning, she just was like all over the place. She couldn't like control it at all. And then as soon as she was, I'm gonna change the colors. It's gonna keep asking me. As soon as I changed, as soon as I changed her to the regular bike, like it was like a week. It was like right away. Like she just got it, and it wasn't like she was in any real danger either. The problem that I was having with her when I was on the bike was every time I would like push her, she would always like turn inwards towards me because she just wanted to be sure that she was safe, and I was always catch her. So really, all I had to do to really get her to ride the bike on her own was to teach her that don't rely on me on catching you. Just act like I'm not even here, so you can balance on your own, right? Because she kept on leaning into me instead of, and I know she could do it because she was doing it on the other thing, right? And so I was trying to just really convince her of that. And once she got it, which was today, like I told her, like, don't lean into me, and she didn't lean in, and then bam, she was just riding her bike. It was great. And I was like, whoa.
That video was awesome. Those bikes are really cool too, because like I remember when I was in Hawaii with my brother, watching my nephews do it. Like anytime they're about to fall, like my brother would just teach them, just stand up. Like whenever you're losing your balance, just stand up.
Yeah.
So they have their feet like out as they're riding it, and as soon as they kind of got wobbly, they would just stand up and put their hands up, and the bike would just fall between their legs, and they pick it up and then try it again. And I was like, oh, that's actually genius. It's like,
yeah, I'm trying to teach my daughter a larger lesson too. The whole don't give up attitude, obviously. But one thing that I'm trying to teach her, I was trying to explain to her all this time. I was like, listen, sweetheart, you're gonna love riding your bike once you know how to ride it. I was like, you're gonna really love it. But right now you don't like it because you're afraid of it, because you're afraid you're gonna fall. You're afraid of failure. And I'm trying to teach her this idea of like it's okay to fail. At a very young age, I'm trying to instill that into her like bones, so that she like can get past that insecurity, because I think a lot of people, including myself, just grow up with that insecurity. So I'm trying to get her like to know like falling is part of life type of thing, And I think she's starting to get it, because every time I ask her, is like, when you're not good at something, what do you have to do? And she's like, keep trying. I'm like, yeah, you got it. That's pretty much it. She's gonna nail it. And I've been trying to teach her how to become a badass too. So whenever she wants to do the iPad or play a game or whatever, she has to do me 5 drawings. I commission her to do 5 drawings for me, and so she'll just draw for 5 little things, and then she'll just.
I should do that with my students in Street Fighter.
and so it works, because she draws a lot now, like a lot, and she just gets it. Like, I draw something, I get something. I'm trying to teach her that that's like it's a real job, like work. But she enjoys drawing. Like, I don't make her draw anything that she doesn't want to. Oh, actually, I had her draw something, because we're working on this project. I had her draw this thing. It's supposed to be like a kid's drawing of like a monster, and she drew it, and I was like, this is cool. In fact, where is it? Did my wife put it somewhere? I have no ideas where it might be. I'll have to look for it later. It's really
like,
good though.
I want 20 silhouettes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's important though for me to get her to understand this, because she's going to be going to school soon, and I want her to have a strong moral compass starting out. I still want to homeschool her, but I think I'll start homeschooling her when she gets to like middle school, or even
I was
like
about to
late
ask you
elementary school.
I feel like you'd be the kind of guy that would enroll them in like one of the like alternative schools. Like,
Oh yeah.
I watched a documentary about like how kids run this one school. The adults kind of just like let things happen.
Oh yeah.
Like, as far as like suspensions go, like all the kids have to get together and like decide if that kid deserves to get kicked out.
Never in my life have I ever heard of a school like that.
It's like some butterfly shit.
It has some like great reviews actually.
Yeah, I don't see why it wouldn't work.
Like, the
Sounds
kids get to like
cool.
make decisions and shit.
It's not Lord of the Flies, he's saying. He's like, there's some chaperones there. It's not like they just throw kids in a room and just throw a bunch of firecrackers in there, and they're like, you have 7 days, and just close the door.
Today we're gonna learn about color.
We're going to learn how to color with the blood of your victims. Yeah, no. You're going to learn how
What are you
to...
drinking today? Blood of the innocent.
Yeah. You're going to learn how to tie knots so you can hang people. What?
Oh my god.
Really dark turn.
I remember when I had my interview with Sony, it was so weird because they kept on just bringing in one person at a time, and I was just like for like 5 hours just interviewed by like several different people. And I thought it'd be funny. I remember when I got the job, I was talking about it, and I was like, "Did you guys get like a create long interview?" And they're like, "Yeah, man, everyone does." And I'm like, "Oh." So at one point, I was afraid that they were just gonna walk in with like a little kid and like leave him in there, right? And just like have him sit down, and then they'll have like a knife, and then they put it right in front of me with a little letter, and then they just walk out. I'm like, "What?" And then I open the letter, and it says, "If this kid is not dead by 5 o'clock, you don't get the job." And I'm like, "What? No!" And then the little kid's just like, "They said my mom was gonna be here." No, I'm just saying, it just
You fucked up, kid.
yeah, I just saying, like, it was just so bizarre. I thought they were gonna do something like crazy tests of like, we want murderers to work at Sony Santa Monica. Obviously, that was not the
like a
case.
trained killer. Like it's hard. Like,
Oh,
you
it's
can't
another
kill him
test.
easily.
Yeah, it's another test.
It's like jabbing you in the face.
Yeah,
What?
jokes on me.
What's that
The
new
kids.
movie coming out? Like the whole Office murder thing.
I was like Battle Royale, but in an office. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that one. Actually, I think it's gonna be great. I love these ideas of just like Hunger Game-esque circumstances. They're just so intriguing.
People are now gonna kill people that they don't like at the work office. That's a good reason to be nice people at the work office, because you never know when they might lock all the doors down and tell you some people gotta go.
Yeah, they even have the Battle Royale music, right? They're like dun dun dun.
I'm pretty sure I would go after all the good artists.
Dun, dun.
Like, just be like, oh look, I'm the
Like,
best.
we hate that Michael guy. Go first.
Hey, Anthony's so good. Let's kill him first.
Oh, joke's on you.
I'd be chilling. I'd be like,
I know how to run.
You could try to come after me.
Yeah.
You gotta kill one person right away. So it's kind of set the tone a little bit, you know. They won't mess with you.
Yeah, the alternative school stuff sounds cool. Like, I think homeschooling was what I would do the most. Unless the educational system does a complete U-turn in the next 3 to 4 years. Because, for instance, they brought in like the most unqualified person to be running, to run the educational department, and then what's scary about her is she's like really wants everybody to go to public schools, and it's just like, or I'm sorry, private schools. And the argument
bad, actually, for people that have special needs, that like my cousin's like a teacher, like a public school teacher, and she was like telling me about it. She's like, yeah, if the stuff that she wants like happens, like there are gonna be a lot of people like not gonna have education or not gonna have affordable education. It's all gonna be privatized. I was like, oh shit.
Well, like her solution for that was that people get vouchers, right? And the problem with the voucher system is that if they give you a limit, then that means they can control the kind of schools you go to anyway, right? Because the way that it works now is that it's based off of where you live, right? Which is also kind of fucked up, because if you live in a poor environment, poor community, then you just got a poor school.
Not going to give you anything.
That's how is that going to change? Like, how are they going to all of a sudden have private schools in these poor communities? They're not. They're just not. And they're just going to basically take the money that these schools would get and then put it back into their goddamn pockets, the pockets of businesses. So basically the government spending money that we put through taxes that goes to the public education would just go to businesses instead. And it's just like a terrible idea. Because there's two things that I genuinely think that people, it's the same thing that I was coming at you with, Mike, right? You're generalizing a little bit too much with this whole, look at the art movement. And I was like, no, they're different. You have to see them as different. But I see what you're saying. I get it. Like, having the opportunity to allow all sorts of people come into the position is actually a great thing. And I believe you that that's something that could and should happen, right? But just like you can become a doctor and I can become a doctor, right? Regardless of our backgrounds, But we have to go to medical school for nearly a decade,
Yeah, there's prerequisites.
There's a requirement to get that job, You can't just go in there, you know what? I watched some YouTube videos. I think I'm good. I think I got this. I'm like the best doctor I know. I'm like a smart person.
Regarding my previous argument, I did, turn around. Like,
yeah.
Made some good points.
So my point is back to this. Like, I feel like the same thing is happening with like people's opinion about healthcare and education. They're like, well, look, when we make it a business, then you'll have better quality. And I'm like, again, you're not seeing it as the way that it works. Because think of it like this. You have a smartphone, right? And you can afford a smartphone now, or at least your parents can, right? And that's because of competition. So they're right. When you bring in competition and competitors, product prices go down and quality goes up. Yeah? But the difference is that this is not an investment into a future endeavor. This is just a product you are consuming. You just got it, and it's yours. The business transaction is done. Does it make sense? The difference between education and health, let's look at health, is that if you put money into your health insurance, let's say you got a company that, like, we're going to give you $100, a payment a month, and you're like, damn, that's dope. And you have access to, like, all the stuff. You can go to regular visits to doctors. You can check in as many times as you want. The premiums for certain things will cost you very little. And you're like, great, that sounds awesome. What are you talking about, AJ? That actually sounds like a great idea. And I'm like, yeah. But what if you get cancer? And it costs you hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, to keep you alive. You would have to, which happens. You would have to live. You would have to live till you're 60. You would have to put 60 years into this medical insurance for them to even have the money to pay for one treatment of your cancer treatment. Does it make sense? Because you would have put in about $100,000 to $200,000 into that health insurance company, right? And they're not saving that money. They're spending it to pay employees, to build facilities, right? They don't have this like reserve of money just in case you get a really bad disease. Does it make sense? And if your money is going into one insurance company and my money is going into another insurance company and our friends is going into another one, they're not going to be like, let's all come together and help this one person out. Let's take some of our money and let's work together. High five, health. We love our people. No, they're like, well, we only can cover, just like car insurance. Sorry, we only cover $20,000 at the most. So the rest you're going to have to pay out of pocket. Sorry, bro. And let me tell you, that's how it's going to be. And the reason why we have terrible health insurance and healthcare now is because of the baby boomers, because they didn't build a strong, single payer system from the start. They believed in this idea of privatization of our healthcare at some level. And guess what? The baby boomers are sick now. They're sick and dying. And the health insurance companies don't have the money. And guess what's happening? It's a complete mess. The same thing is with education. You can't just be like, well, you're putting money in, you get in a service. It just doesn't work this way, because people that don't have access to money won't have access to these privileges. I have access to good healthcare and good education because I can afford it, right? My kids are going to good schools if I stay here in Irvine, right? I pay $1,500 a month. It's so freaking much for my whole family, right? On health insurance. And even when I had that much money putting into my health insurance, when I had to remove my tumor, I still had to pay upwards to $5,000 to $6,000 over a period of 2 to 3 months.
You should tell them the preventative discussion.
Oh yeah, and I remember when I talked to my doctor and I said, I think I got something going on with me. I was like, I would like to, get an MRI. And he was just like, we don't do preventative medicine here. I'm like, bro, I pay $1,500. Yeah, I pay $1,500 a month. If this is supposed to be a service, then
especially if you're paying that much,
then you are failing.
All of the fucking bells and whistles.
Oh yeah, and I actually I'm supposed to, and the doctors that I have now are treating me with respect and listening to my concerns, right? But even then I had to find 7 doctors before I found that first doctor that actually gave a damn. So even with all that money that I spend, so why does a single payer make more sense? Well, it's because you would make the government put more regulations, more standards, right? And then everybody would be putting into a larger pot. The young and healthy people would pay in to help the old and sick, right? Or the unfortunate. And it's that's how it just works. And even the old will still, if you live your whole life and you're completely healthy and you never had any kind of problem or ailment, you still contributed to the greater good of the whole community, right? And
honestly, I think that's the problem. Nobody gives a shit about the greater good.
Yeah, we're very short-sighted.
Well,
and I think you're wrong.
Corporations aren't designed to give a shit.
I think most people do care about one another. It's just when they want to argue online on Facebook, they'll put away their morals, just so they can win an argument. But I think if you really, if you were to think about it in the sense of a family situation, it's not like I would tell my son, hey, you need to pay me every month $20. And if something happens, then I'll take care of that bill for you. So no, I do everything in my power to take care of my son. When my friends are in need, I try to help them out, and vice versa, right? It's just that's kind of I think how most people are. There's definitely there's a small group of people that aren't like that, right? They're total jerk-offs, right? But I believe the majority of people have a good head on their shoulders, right? Or at least try to have a good head on their shoulders. But it's like you said, it's kind of on a short-sightedness. I think most people will just want to try to win an argument, and they just put aside all their beliefs just so they can argue and be like, well, let me explain to you why I think this thing, And sometimes those are fair arguments. Like I said, the whole idea of putting more things to privatized systems so that people can compete with one another, that's great. Makes sense. But not everything can work in that system, right? And wouldn't you think that if you had a healthcare system that was pretty much free, right? It was not free, but it was done through taxes, so you don't really feel the cost of it, right?
Yeah.
That there would be better competition. If I didn't have to pay for my health insurance, and I decided to pay for my health insurance, I would expect my health insurance to be better than the already available and free and good health insurance that the government and my country provides for me. Don't you understand? And here's the thing: you can totally still have private companies. You totally can do that. There's nothing entirely stopping that from happening. It's just it would be really hard, and they would have to make really strong standards. They would have to have a smaller staff. It would feel more like a mom and pop shop, you know. And a doctor who creates a business from scratch on their own dime and their own willpower was probably going to be a great doctor to go to, right? Like it's the same way that like my school works, right? Like I am not an accredited school. I am not like a teacher with credentials, but I make a huge effort to teach my students to become great artists. And it's at a very reasonable cost. And most of my students truly enjoy the experience. In fact, some of them have complimented me to say that they've learned more in 1 month from me than they learned from 3 years of going to a school that they paid $90,000, $100,000, $200,000 for. And that's my point. So imagine if you had a doctor that way, right? Like a doctor that like he went to medical school because he genuinely or she genuinely wants to save people's lives. And you can go to that person. Yeah, and you go to that person, you could then you would pay $100 a month, but this person is getting most of that money, right? So they can go in there and they have access to certain treatments, and maybe they're the kind of doctor that does preventative care, right? The kind of doctor that prevents you from getting sick. So that's how they can afford their overhead. In fact, that's how the government can afford better health care, is that they prevent people from getting sick in the first place, right? Like teaching people how to eat right, teaching people how to work out right, teaching people how to live a better lifestyle, instead of waiting for them to get super sick and then saying, okay, we'll just do surgery and give you lots of pain medicine.
You ever seen Russell Peters, his recent comedy?
No, I haven't.
It's kind of funny because he's like Indian, right? And he talks about being a doctor, and he actually finds like an Indian guy. He finds like an Indian guy in the crowd, and he's like a doctor, and he finds another person in the crowd that's a doctor as well. And he's like, "Did you ever want to be like anything else when you were young?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "What did you want to be?" He's like, "A musician." He's like, "Yep, I don't want that guy operating on me." He's like, because already he doesn't want to be here. He wanted to be something else. He just chose to be a doctor because of his
Dude, that's
he's like,
yeah.
I want the guy.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
I want the guy that comes in and he wants to save some shit, bro. He's like, I don't want the guy that as he's operating on me, he's thinking about the guitar and shit.
Became a doctor by default.
I was cracking.
No, that's a great argument, Kalen, and that's kind of the point I'm trying to say, is that there's not enough of that going on. Because I had, for instance, in my own personal experience, I had that doctor who probably wanted to be a musician and could care less that I might have had a tumor in my head, you know? And he has the qualifications to recognize it. He has the ability and understanding to know my anatomy and the rationale, you know, to potentially tell me that there might be something more serious. But no, he didn't care. And then the other doctor, in contrast to him, she was just like, first thing, let's do an MRI. I didn't even have to ask. She's like, this sounds serious. Let's do MRI. And then we got the MRI. She's like, we got to do a spinal tap. We got to do a CT scan. We're gonna look into this every month or every week and every of the next few months until we figure out what is going on. You know. She never thought that all of my concerns were delusional, like me reading too much WebMD type of like a persona. Like she genuinely said, yeah, you look sick. Let's make you not sick anymore. Whoops. And that's how doctors should be, man. And this whole idea of privatizing, like you telling me that when you've gone to go get a new cell phone or go to Walmart or Target, that you haven't encountered like just bad customer service and these people just don't care. Like that's just how it's going to be, but with doctors, right? Like it's just going to be worse. And here's the thing, it's not going to fix the problem that we have today. It's going to make it worse. Because the poor people, when like it's just again short-sightedness, when those poor people afford the cheaper healthcare, and like I said, 20, 30, 40 years from now, when they actually need that more premium, more expensive healthcare, they're going to be fucked. They're going to truly be fucked.
It's going to be John Q all over again.
Yeah, because I almost got like fucked, and I afford health insurance, and I was actually getting really screwed because of all these things. If I didn't have my health insurance at all, my surgery would have cost upwards to $80,000. You guys hear that? Like $80,000 to remove my tumor. Isn't that crazy?
Well, I mean, how bad do you want it removed, though? You know, I mean,
badly.
You want to live?
Yeah, badly. Yeah. But I'm
Well,
saying
Jack, you want people-
I was able to have insurance that was able to make it not $80,000, just $3,000. But hey, do you have $3,000 lying around just in case you need to remove your tumor?
Nope.
That's the
why-
point, man. That's the goddamn point. And I didn't either at that point. At the time, I had to like work double time, you know. And so it's just like, it's people don't get it, man. It's
You're
this-
working to not die. That's some real shit right there.
Yeah, or you guys, you know what? You know, some of these Republicans are just saying, just save your money, man. Save it, dude. Just save $1 million, dude. Just save it, and just in case you get cancer, dude.
Give me a year.
Yeah, just give me a year. Yeah,
Give me a year.
just save that money, man. Just save it, dude. Just don't get cancer. You know, just get a couple flus shots here and there, and then you'll be all right. You can afford it, and just save your money, bros. You'll be fine.
Or start praying to God.
Yeah, or just start praying to an external source of help, and maybe that person will come in and save the day. You know, I have a good joke on that, by the way. There's actually, I don't want to tell you the joke. I'll save it for the next stream. Teaser for the next stream. Anyway, is there any other questions up in there?
You got a lot of questions.
All right, great.
I don't know how long you want to take them though.
Yeah, I'll just lightning around it because I was supposed to end this
All
a
right,
little bit sooner, but I'll just kind of.
Let me scroll down for a sec.
Well, we got talking about politics, and I got into it. Like I said, I've been like knee deep in all this stuff, man. I'm just like so furious of what's happening.
Okay, so someone asked, "Hey man, art question here.
Go for it.
How do I match colors when painting from life, but I'm doing it on my Cintiq?"
Wait, what? How do you master colors from painting from life?
They said match colors.
When
How
painting
do you
from
find
life?
the HSV?
Okay, thanks for talking my language. You don't. How do you match colors from life? Well, the best way to really get good at matching your colors is just like guessing what you think the color is, and then just putting it down, and then looking at the color. And if you're doing it from life, then I guess it'll be a little bit harder. But if you do it from pictures, it'll be helpful because then you can color pick, right? And when you color pick, what you could do is you just see how off you were, how much HSB you were off, and that's what I did.
Yeah, that's
but
what I do too. with my students, it's like extra credit. They challenge me sometimes.
yeah, and
If
so
they're close, then they get a point.
yeah, and so a good way that you can just do that is just, you know, like I just said. But most of the time, you just should focus on your values. Your values are usually the thing that will save you the most time if you get them right. So keep that in mind.
Also, on that, you can use the same exact strategy as using like an image, and then try to match the value itself. That I use that to practice values. It really helped. I would like look at a value and then try to put it down, and then check my progress and be like, oh, okay, I'm getting really good at, you know, finding 30% gray or 70%, those kind of things.
I can guess the color pretty accurately nowadays. AJ's actually pretty good at like putting down a value, and he can say that value is. He can color pick a value and not look at the number and say that's probably like a 70%. And then when he looks at the value, it's like 70%. So I mean that comes from like practice and just having.
It just takes time. Yeah, and
So same thing with color.
yeah, I've gotten the same thing going with color as well. Yeah.
Okay. Next one says, wait, I think that's a comment, but I'm going to read it. AJ, what if you make the shiny trim gold? Doesn't gold sit well with green? Or don't you care?
I don't
are
care.
your thoughts?
I'm just painting, and I can care less. Whenever I paint, it's mostly subconscious. I'm not actively thinking of every single color and light I'm putting in here.
Okay, I think it did turn into a question. So it says after that, what are your thoughts on just always going with color and design combos that always work rather than playing around for new results?
There's really, like, there isn't a lot of things you can do with color if you want to get decent contrast. And so I wouldn't worry about it. And here's a good point I want to make. Hey, Booba. Okay, hold on. Come here, Booba. Before you go potty. Say, look at here and say, hi, everybody.
Hi,
Hi, Delilah.
That's Boo Boo. Okay, come here, Delilah. Come here. Oi.
Little man on camera.
Say hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Okay, I love you. Come here, Jake. I'm just kidding.
Anthony,
Oh, yes?
you heard?
Huh?
My Xbox Live went out.
Your Xbox what?
Xbox Live went out.
Oh, alright. I'm in the middle of streaming. Talk about your game dramas after. Your gamer life. What was I going to say? What was I talking about?
We were taking questions.
Oh, yeah, that's right. But was I in the middle of saying something?
I think you were responding to the thing about color and design.
Oh, yeah.
Part of why you're adding
That's
the
right.
gray, the gold trim.
Yeah, and I was going to do this. I was going to just change the colors of this and just show you, like, it could totally just be different and still work out. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because of the values, homies. All right. Another question?
hmm Do you think that now virtual reality development is being stymied? Steamed?
Stymied?
Stymied? Never seen that word. It feels like there was a big push and now nothing.
I think it's just still not ready for commercial use, but I don't think it's going away either.
No. At GDC, there's a lot of VR people.
I actually work for VR Arcade. I think that's where it's going to go before it goes to consumers.
Okay. Good night, guys. Love you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think people are just finding things wrong with it, and they're just trying to make it right.
Yeah, I think it's going to be used for tools first before it's... Because arcade is...
Entertainment after.
Yeah, I think arcade is still cool, but like it's like a cliche experience that I think it could work there because, you know, these bigger studios can... Or these bigger venues can afford it, you know, and then just put it at a cost. And then it will pay for itself after a few uses, you know? But I think for a more commercial aspect, I don't think so. Not yet. Until it's like just putting on sunglasses or glasses on your head and it just like works. And in that respect, it'll probably be more augmented reality than it would be. Come here, Luke. Don't you cry every time the door's closed. Get stressed out. Sit here. Sit. I'll take you out in just a minute. Yeah, I'm not too focused on that. I would say try it out though. It's really good as a tool to paint and draw with nowadays. It's actually pretty bizarre what you can do with it. And that's where I think it lives right now because it's like people like me would probably spend some money on that, you know, spend a good $500, $600 on that tool just so I can like mess around with it, you know what I mean? But like your average Joe, it's not going to do that, right? So, yeah, that's how I feel about it.
All right. Moving forward.
Oh my gosh. Hold on. I'm going to take my dog out.
hmm
If there's any questions that are in general, you can just ask and I'll try to answer.
Okay.
You just hear, what the?
Lightning round. Let's go. Go ahead. Lightning round.
This thing, like, closed. I lost the questions.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry. No, I got him back. All right. I lost my place, though.
Oh my god.
I'm not good at this.
That's all right.
Somebody
Doing me a
asked,
favor.
do you use a lot of sculpting in your professional stuff?
Yeah. Oh, I guess no, that's not entirely accurate. But I do like mess around with a lot of sculpts. Yeah, I like to sculpt often. But I don't necessarily use it professionally all the time.
Okay, I'm just going up the list. Somebody else said, so Anthony, I saw you were a judge for the Q Brush Art War.
Yeah.
Only just found out about the competition, but thought it was cool.
Thank
So
you.
it's a comment. It's nice.
Yeah, me and Mark Renee are really good buds. He wanted me to be a judge, and I said, yeah, sure. I don't know what to do yet. I guess I have to look at artwork and say something about it. But he told me he'll let me know when it starts coming around.
Oh, you're pretty good at that.
They gotta bring back the Dominance War days.
The what war?
Dominance War. Remember that?
Oh, what was that from?
I remember.
Is that wow, are we old?
Duh. Duh, bro.
I'm sorry.
Are we old right now? I just felt really old because I thought because we were like, what is that?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is an old man.
People died in that
People
one.
died.
If you thought Moto and like and Blender
Is that back
that.
when they were using Silo for the competitions?
It's just
Ancient times.
This shit's like the Clone Wars, bro. It's legendary.
it's just another competition for artists. There's like
All right.
concept.art.org too. It had some things going on. There's all kinds of stuff.
What's concept? No, I'm just kidding. All right. Somebody said, "Hey Anthony, there's this thing I've been thinking about to be a concept artist. One, should I be able to design characters, environments, vehicles, props, etc. for a beginner? Should she look into all aspects of concept art, or should they specify in a particular area, such as only characters for a while?
Specify.
They move on to something like environments and so on. What are your thoughts?"
Specify.
Boom.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely do everything, but it just takes you longer.
Yeah, look at like Aton, right? When he graduated from Otis, he just did environments.
Yeah.
First
You're
job.
you're gonna get better if you just focus. But it's possible to do multiple things too. I know plenty of artists who could do multiple things, but they've also been doing it for longer, you know. But yeah, laser focus.
Comments. Oh, we're almost done.
Who is that? Kill him. Who
What?
sneezed? I heard someone
Oh,
sneeze.
you heard that? That was Jacqueline.
Kill her.
She's in the kitchen. It's like far away.
Wedding's off.
It's loud. It's all good.
You just hear. Whoa! I was just kidding. What?
I'm sorry. And you hear like a what? Oh hell no, Kaylin. Fuck you.
It's opposite. Yeah.
You start hearing you scream.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like a full on fight. Like she's winning, and it's like
Yeah, I will be. We're wrapping up the questions.
Okay. Somebody mentioned or a comment. Respectfully, though, AJ, you have a cutoff point. Doctors don't have that luxury. Regarding you comparing your classes to how a doctor could open a shop.
They have a cutoff point. What do you mean?
I think they're trying to make a point that like when your mentorship is over, you don't have to necessarily continue consulting the student, whereas a doctor has to keep on seeing the person they're trying to help. Maybe
Okay.
that's the point they're trying to make.
Yeah, but isn't that still true? Even if it's, I guess they're just saying it's just like a true thing. Yeah, that's a fair argument. That's why we need to make it a little bit more along the lines of it in regulations, right? Like, and having multiple qualified physicians that can take care of you. Yeah, this whole waiting thing, for instance, is a real thing. Like, I had to wait. Like, if I didn't do the surgery the day that I had it, which was during Thanksgiving, I would have had to wait another month. So even like people like make this argument of, oh, you gotta wait, right? It's like, no, like everybody has to wait, even the ones who pay. And yes, maybe some of those wait lines are much longer in these countries that have like those single payer systems.
yeah, that happened to
But
Jacqueline actually.
it's-
Someone did like an incorrect thing on her teeth, and then they had to fix it because they did like a improper root canal and they weren't supposed to, and then
Dude.
yeah, so they had to do like some crazy surgery to put like the bone like back, like some crazy
Oh my
shit.
gosh.
Oh.
And then on top of that, so they're like, yeah, so the root canal didn't have to do that. It's like I'm surprised that guy did that. Like I'm actually gonna go yell at him. So the girl like called him and like yelled at him, and the guy called and like refunded her money back for paying for it. And then they're like, all right, so the next time that we can, so you have to go to the specialist right here, and he'll like, and I know this guy, he'll take care of you. And then they're like, when this is like in January. Like, when can you see me? We can see you maybe in like a few weeks, like maybe 4 weeks. And Jacqueline was like, dude, no, like there's a hole in my mouth.
Yeah, and she's in a lot of pain, I'm sure.
And then they're like, all right, I guess we'll bring you in. And then they had to schedule it. And then it just
Why
happened
is it
last
so
week.
bad, dude? It's so
Yeah,
bad.
and
Everything's
she's
so
she's
bad.
and she works for like a big company that has like makes good money, like really
Yeah.
like fortune, like a science company, like that genetic and shit.
Yeah.
And it was like she had to go through all this shit. She's like, I don't understand. She's like, they like didn't care.
Yeah, and it's just how it is. And the way you solve this is actually putting more money into healthcare. You just put more money. Maybe Donald Trump, instead of putting like up to $50 billion into something that we already put hundreds of billions of dollars into, which is the military, why don't you take some of that money and put it into healthcare and education. Do you think that our country would become better if we had smarter people and healthier people? I mean, that's just my guess.
I was going to make that argument earlier.
I mean, that's just my guess, because a lot of other developing countries do that, and they seem to do pretty all right.
Okay, you got 2 questions left.
Yeah, go for it. I'm going to
And then
answer
we'll end
these.
them.
Yeah, I'm going to go watch Penny Dreadful with my wife. It's a good show.
Penny Dreadful?
Yeah.
Oh, you just got into that?
Yeah, just got into it.
Oh, shit. Let me know how you like it. I've actually watched
So
it.
far, I like it.
Is that a streaming thing?
No, it's an old show, a long time ago, before your time, youngin.
Well, the season, like the show just recently ended. Like, they only had like 4 seasons, so. Watch
Anyway.
Taboo.
Are there VHSs of this show?
Yeah, there's VHSs. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. Anyway, go ahead.
that ancient technology. Anyway, how many variations of form have you learned to design anything?
You just need to learn the bigger ones, right? Like a cylinder, a cone, a pyramid, a cube, an elliptical sphere. Obviously, different variants of cones and cylinders in terms of size and shapes. That's pretty much it, and then everything is just kind of an amorphous version of these primary shapes.
Kid Bash
Yeah.
shapes. All right, last question. Somebody said or commented, whichever. I can't get a job because I can only do characters. They want people that can do everything.
Well, then stop applying for the jobs if they want everything. Because how do you think I worked in the industry? Because I pretty much only do characters. You got to just,
Into environment.
yeah. I mean, like, you have to understand that there's only, Caitlin only does environments. You have to understand that there's not like 1 or 2 companies out there, right? Like, let me give you a good gauge to think about. Large companies usually want like the specialized artists, just badass, because they want the best, right? And usually the specialized artists are the best at that thing. And then medium to big, same thing, but sometimes they want you to have a little bit more skill at other things. Medium, it's like, yeah, whatever they decide. And then, medium to small, or I'll just go big, small, and then medium. So big companies, specialized artists are usually preferred, and then, but not all, just generalizations. And then small studios would want somebody who has multiple skills, because then they get more bang out of the buck. But then usually the quality isn't as great as someone who's just only does that one thing. Like Vitaly Bogorov, like he just pretty much is the robot mech character dude. So they're not going to necessarily ask him to do, like
landscape paintings.
Landscape paintings, yeah. It's just I'm sure he could do a decent job, but that's not his thing,
He probably wouldn't enjoy it.
And he probably wouldn't enjoy it, exactly. And so, but like, these types of companies, think of the companies that hire him, like Boston Dynamics is one of them. Like they have the money, and so keep that in mind. But then if you have like a smaller studio, like the one I work for, I'm like the art director, but I'm also like a concept artist, and I'm also like a producer / manager, and so I'm like, I wear a lot of hats, if that makes sense. But it's fine, and it's still within my skill set, because I teach a lot, and that kind of helps me in terms of as an art director. I'm able to give direction in a very practical way. And then and I've been art directed before for nearly a decade now, so I know what it's like to have good art direction and bad art direction. But I haven't never had a terrible art director. But I just know what worked for me and what didn't. But like I did multiple things, and I'm like getting into 3D again to help out with 3D props for the company. So just to give you just a grand idea of that. But yeah, if you only apply for companies that say, hey, we were looking for multiple people, then you just won't get a job there. If you're just looking to get a job, you can go be president. So easy. No, if you want a job, you want to make money, you can go as a firefighter, you can be a plumber. You make more money, like right out of the gate, if you get to these jobs. Like I was a plumber, and I made more money as a plumber than I did when I got my first art job. Okay, but obviously, my first art job was more valuable to me as an artist, right? Versus
The growth.
Yeah, and just because I was working with Kayla and some of my good friends, so that's the point I'm making. Like, if you want a job, there's jobs out there. In fact, the whole argument of Trump's bringing more jobs, I found out recently there's like up to 3 to 4 million jobs available in America, and some of these companies are trying to talk to Trump, and they're like, look, like, it's not that there's no jobs. Like, we have jobs, bro. It's just people aren't qualified. That's why we hire out of our country. It's not because they're coming in here and taking all these jobs. It's just that nobody here either wants these jobs or they're just not qualified, And so that's the thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's like a spectrum. Either there's like the farmlands where people don't want to work, or there's like the very like technical jobs that you need to be literally qualified for.
Yeah. So you just
all
gotta
the jobs that are taken are the in between.
Yeah. So you just gotta educate the people and train them and put them in a position so they have opportunities to get jobs, right? Anyway, but to your question, there's plenty of opportunities. If you don't like that, if you want to just be a generalist, then get a job. No big deal. And then when you hate that position or you don't like it, then you'll know why I suggested you be more specialized and do the things you wanted. But sometimes people got to learn by having it happen to them, right? Anyways, is there any last questions? I'm gonna go now. I think my wife is trying to send me signals. She came in here aggressively, grabbed the pillow.
If you want to take it, one last question popped up. Also, John Park said, "What's up?"
Oh, what's up, John?
He popped in.
Love you, John.
Okay.
You got to hang out soon.
Okay, they say, "Hi, Anthony. What happens when you practice 14 hours per day for 2 years? How big of an improvement?"
You'll get a significant one, but I don't think you need to spend 14 hours. I would say
knows, like, specifically, like.
I do.
Level 5.
I have a good suspicion, actually. I have a good hypothesis on how many times or how much hours, but I am still testing this hypothesis. I have the answer, but I'm not going to tell you until I have definitive evidence. But I am suspecting that you need to just put in between 6 to 8 hours of focused time and energy in a day. That's all you'll need. And if you do that for about 2 to 3 years, you can become pretty accomplished concept artist. If you stay focused, if you stay undistracted, and you rest and live a healthier lifestyle, you'll build the proper environment for your brain to grow and to receive new information, as well as just have a better quality of life, and also create a circumstance where you don't need to work crazy long hours to create crazy good results. You trained yourself how to work less, but that takes time. But if you just grind for 10 hours every day, 10, 14 hours, I think there's some diminishing returns if you do 14 hours a day, because this is too much. Yeah, anything. Exactly. And so there's definitely working too little, which I think most people understand, but there's also working too much, which most people actually don't understand. They think hard work. Hard work doesn't mean long work. Hard work just means that it's not easy, but it doesn't mean that you got to just grind it to a pulp. Okay?
It's like that smarter, not harder mentality.
Yeah. But the problem is that smarter, not harder is also a little elusive, right? Because it is also hard. It's like being smarter.
Oh, yeah.
It requires you to do hard stuff. And so I've tried to change that adjective to long work, like long periods of work. There's no necessary reason for that. You also need to play. You need to have an opportunity of contrast so your brain can have a moment of reflection. If you don't give it, it's going to have a harder time to retain. And if you're working that many hours, you're not sleeping or eating right. So you're doing a lot of other things that are indirectly affecting you. So
it's like going to the gym. You can't work out all the time.
Yeah, you can't work out the biceps for 7 hours every day. You're going to have no biceps. So you're just going to have just flimsy arms.
You're super buff, though.
No, you're not. You're not going to have anything. You're just going to be dead. That's what I'm trying to say.
You get shredded.
No.
Shred your muscles, literally.
Literally.
Or you could just take steroids and then just die in your 50s. That's all good, too. All right.
Shit just got real. Okay, final comments, closing out. They're not questions.
Okay.
John said, these talks are awesome, man. Keep them coming.
Thank
Kay
you, man.
said, yeah, I like these streams. Louis said, wow. And Anthony Jones, you're one of my greatest inspirations.
Oh, man, I appreciate
Julia said,
that.
really nice to sit in on one of these streams again.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. Now I'm going to go hang out with my wife before it's too late, before she throws me out the window. You just hear.
I,
Oh no. No, I told her I was going to do 30, 40 minutes. So in her defense, I did went way beyond.
Bea knows that when you say 30, 40 minutes, that it
I'm pretty good about like going 20 minutes over.
Why are you lying?
Not an
You
hour
lying right there
over.
to yourself.
You're right. Oh.
Stop
All right, guys. Laters. See you guys. Peace out.